One of my biggest aesthetic inspirations in life has got to be Nancy Meyers. There's just something about the dreamy, coastal, airy aesthetic of all of her films that is both cozy and aspirational all at once. It just begs you to romanticize life, and that is what I'm all about. So I have decided that this year I'm going to have my Nancy Meyers summer. And if you also want to have a Nancy Meyers summer, then I have a bucket list for you. The first thing we have to do to have a Nancy Meyers summer is go to a farmer's market. I want you to go to your local farmer's market, pick out the biggest, most beautiful bouquet of flowers that you can find, and then come home and style them in your kitchen. I feel like Nancy Meyers movies always have the most stunning kitchens, and we might not all have that like picture perfect vignette, but a bouquet of flowers on an island or on your countertop is gonna go a long way. My second bucket list item is to have a crisp glass of white wine al fresco. This is very inspired by The Parent Trap. I just want to have a long stemmed wine glass with the coldest, most crisp white wine imaginable in my garden. A French 75 would also do nicely. If you don't drink, you could absolutely make some kind of a mocktail with like white grape juice would be great. This is kind of something I just always am on the lookout for, but specifically to lean into this aesthetic this summer, I'm also going to try to thrift blue and white pottery pieces that kind of fit that like coastal grandmother aesthetic. I think they're so classic and beautiful, really embracing that neutral, airy color palette with pops of saturation and blues. Just like in It's Complicated, I want to host a big dinner party for my girlfriends, and I want us to eat by candlelight. I want to thrift the dishes, and then each guest can take home their place setting as a little memento of the evening. Maybe we'll even dine outside like in Home Again, which I think technically Nancy Meyers didn't direct. I think her daughter directed it, but she was a part of it. She was like the producer, I think. That scene where they're all outside and they've got the candlelit table and they're just sitting and having a dinner party. Reese Witherspoon is there. I wish she would be at my dinner party also. This is the vibe for the summer. Another thing on my bucket list is to have a picnic on the beach, like in Something's Gotta Give. I love the idea of not only going to the beach and having a picnic, but like making it really cutesy, bringing like a cute blanket and a woven picnic basket and like maybe even flowers, just like making it feel very special and making it feel like an occasion. Could even dress up like Diane Keaton in that movie and have like a linen button down and like white linen pants. I don't know, I just feel like it'd be really fun. And while we're outside doing all of this farmers marketing and beach picnicking, we are going to protect our skin, and that's where today's sponsor Primally Pure comes in. I have been looking for natural skincare products that are clean and actually effective, and I learned about Primally Pure a couple months ago from a couple of my favorite creators actually. JC Marie Smith and Rohini Elise both posted about them, so I knew I had to try them immediately. And the first thing I tried out from them was their plumping mask, and oh my gosh, it is the most luxurious, most wonderful smelling mask I've ever used. I absolutely love it. If I could bathe in this, I would. It's like rose and jasmine and hibiscus. So nice. And then I found out that they were launching an SPF line, and I have been desperately in need of a good SPF. I am so bad about wearing it during the summer. I mean, all year round, but especially during the summer. And so I needed one that I knew I was gonna reach for and be excited about. And so I picked up the sun cream from Primally Pure. So many commercial sunscreens contain things like fragrances and chemicals that mimic hormones. And they also bleach coral reefs, which is so sad. I am a big believer in reef safe sunscreen, and so I love the sun cream for that. This is SPF 30. It's water resistant for up to 80 minutes. I really like that it provides mineral-based biocompatible sun defense. And most importantly for me, it sinks in quickly. So it has a nice rich feel when you put it in because it has ingredients like tallow, beeswax, and mango butter, but it sinks in really quickly so you're not left feeling greasy. I also picked up this little sun stick, which is SPF 25, and I love that this is so compact. I can just throw it in my purse for when I need touch-ups on the go. And then I also got the Sun Lip Balm. I didn't realize that you needed to put SPF on your lips, and I feel like that explains a lot because I have had like burnt lips before and didn't really know what was going on. So this is SPF 15. I got the lavender mint scent because personally I like a little bit of scent in my lip product as long as it's natural, but they do also have an unscented version. No more burnt lips for me. If you want to try Primally Pure's SPF line out for yourself, you can use my code COZYCOTTAGE and get 15% off site-wide. Another Nancy Meyers inspired activity that I personally would love to do this summer is to have a classic movie marathon. I want to become as well versed in classic movies as Arthur from The Holiday. Something that's on my personal watch list that I haven't seen in many years is The Manchurian Candidate. I remember loving that movie. I haven't seen it in a long time. So I'm going to channel my inner Iris and I'm going to have a little movie night. let's talk soundtrack, because I also think that soundtrack is absolutely key to giving your life whatever vibe you want it to have. So my go-to soundtrack options are usually James Quinn and the Pride and Prejudice soundtrack if I'm wanting instrumental, or if I want something with words, I will go with Ella Fitzgerald or Norah Jones, either of which I think is a perfect Nancy Meyers pick. That slow, soft, dreamy jazz, the 90s vibe of Norah Jones's Come Away With Me album. I basically am just gonna have those playing in the background all summer long, and then hopefully when I listen to those songs, it will always remind me of this summer. Another one that I would recommend that is so personally fulfilling, I do this every year, and every year I still write it down and put it on my bucket list because it's so satisfying to cross it off, is to grow something in your garden and then incorporate it into a meal. This can be as simple as like herbs if you wanna start small, or you could do something like tomatoes, or I do a lot of berries, and I just think it's so gratifying to eat something, especially if it's al fresco, that you grew yourself. That is just a feeling you cannot replicate with anything else. Something else I want to do, and you can probably see that I'm already doing it, is recreating an outfit from The Parent Trap. Low-key, the twins in that movie have some looks. Like Meredith's got some looks too. But for me, it's the twins and it's Chessie. I want Chessie's wardrobe. I think a lot of the Nancy Meyers wardrobe staples are very coastal, cottagey, but I particularly like Chessie's style that's more of like suburban mom, but also lives on a vineyard. And then adding little playful touches like Annie and Hallie. I just think that's very fun. Another staple for me in my Nancy Meyers summer is going to be going to garage sales, because I want my home to feel like a set in one of those movies. Unique, eclectic, cozy, but beautiful at the same time, and I love secondhand finds for that. I'm always thrifting and I love a good estate sale, but garage sale season is just something above and beyond. I absolutely love going to garage sales. It's a fun thing to do with the family too, and the hunt is so gratifying. Another thing that I am trying to resurrect is handwritten letters. There is something so romantic about a handwritten letter, and I would like to start sending them again. So I have set myself the goal of sending 3 handwritten letters this summer. I'm not shooting for the moon. I'm trying to do something attainable with this whole bucket list. These aren't like huge things. They're just little day-to-day improvements that I can make and little vignettes I can create for myself to give myself the feeling that I want to have this season. Inspired by The Intern, I also want to spend a morning with an iced coffee in a coffee shop, just people watching and relaxing and being present and not being on my phone. You'll notice in these movies, people aren't just sitting around on their phones all the time, and that is something that I am trying to bring into my greater life because I do have a problem. Something that I already completed, even though it's still technically spring, that I'm still gonna put on this bucket list, is trying a new delicious, decadent farmer's market inspired recipe like Jane and It's Complicated. Yesterday, I made a rhubarb coffee cake with farmer's market rhubarb, and it was unreal. I'll put the recipe right here because it's in a thrifted cookbook, so I don't think you can like look it up online. Highly recommend trying it. Or you could do something like pasta if you're more of a savory person. Just something for you that is decadent, that you can spend some time in your kitchen with jazz, with a glass of white wine, put it all together, eat by candlelight, outside with your friends. That is the ultimate Nancy Meyers moment. But before you go, I have one more tip for you on just vision boards in general that I find make them actually actionable. In the past, I've made a bucket list or made a vision board and haven't really done much about it. It's just kind of sat there and like been a fun activity for sure. And maybe subconsciously inspired me to do some activities. But what I enjoy more these days is a becoming board. So I first saw this idea from Corinne Norden, PhD, on Instagram, and basically the idea is that you create your bucket list or your vision board with the intent of eventually swapping out the pictures with your own pictures. So for example, if you put a picture of a farmer's market on it, your goal is then to take a picture of a farmer's market at some point during the season and actually swap the pictures out one by one until at the end you're left with kind of a visual diary of your summer. I love putting a goal into the mix. It's always so motivating for me. And I also love that it becomes a keepsake afterward. I feel like this is really attainable, really motivating, and also just like super fun. It would also be a very fun thing to do with friends. So maybe you have your Nancy Meyers dinner party night and you all make your little summer becoming boards. If you are also like me, very inspired by this whole concept of romanticizing your life and having cozy hobbies and aesthetic vignettes that inspire your everyday, I would absolutely love it if you subscribed. You know where the button is down below. I probably don't have to tell you, but I would love to keep in touch and stay friends. I love you guys a lot. I can't wait to see you in my next video, and until then, stay cozy.